Thank you for joining me this evening on We Need to Talk. It is January 21st, 2017. My name is Israel Anderson. It is the last few days where you can engage on my Facebook page and win this incredible prize of 6 pints of fully edible raw cookie dough. Now, it doesn't have egg in it, and the flour is pasteurized. And so you can eat this safely raw. Now, you can bake it as well. There's instructions on their website, and you can do that. I have just received a couple of days ago 6 pints of it myself. Thank you very much to CEO Austin Grozier. 21-year-old Ron Paul supporter started this company just over 1 year ago. Started a second company called Nitrology, which is about making ice cream from liquid nitrogen. It's quite interesting. They have a food truck that they drive around Florida doing that. But if you want to win this incredible prize, get over to the Facebook page. You can find that. Just go to my website, israelanderson.com, and click on the Facebook icon, and it'll take you straight there. Let's get straight into what's going on today. Fox News is actually replacing some of their political commentators that have not been so supportive of President Trump. Now, that sounds very partisan, doesn't it? And of course, that's what we'd expect from Fox. Fox is kind of the only network out there that leans towards the right, extremely towards the right, and everything else towards the left. I really can't fault Fox for being this way. They're obviously responding to the market. They signed yesterday Nigel Farage, of all people. Nigel Farage is a POM. That means he's from England. And he was the guy that led the Brexit movement in the UK and led that vote to actually leave the European Union. And talking about that, actually, British Prime Minister Theresa May is going to be visiting Trump in the White House this coming week, which is very, very quick, very interesting. Theresa May has been handed the task of fully exiting England from the European Union. She is dragging her feet. There have been talks about how the vote is not legally binding. We have an interview coming up with a British politician very soon, not on today's show, but on one very soon, and where we kind of cover what's really going on there. It's not too great. Anyway, Nigel Farage has spoken up about that himself and said that he's very encouraged by this visit and hopes that it will speed the process of England leaving the European Union. For all of the sake of everybody in the UK, I hope that is the case. The people have voted in a referendum. They voted to leave, and the will of the people must be honored. You know, similar thing, I guess, happened here. Popular vote, obviously almost 3 million more people cast a vote for Hillary Clinton than Donald Trump. Could you imagine today, though, what it would be like with Hillary Clinton having been just sworn in as President of the United States? The fear that would be sweeping across this nation right now, it would not be a pretty place. I am so relieved that Donald Trump is the President of the United States. You know, today across the nation, in LA all the way to Washington, D.C., Democratic women, feminists, have been marching. Now, they call it a woman's march. It is not a woman's march whatsoever. In fact, they uninvited all pro-life people who then crashed the party anyway and turned up, and it seemed like it was all fine and they were allowed to march and there was no scuffles. But this is not a women's march, and that's just false advertising. This is a Democratic leftist feminist march, and you should call it what it is. Now, what I find very interesting about this march, though, is that they're protesting against Donald Trump, and they're talking about gay rights and LBGQT XYZ rights. And the funny thing is that we've just elected the most LBGTQ, whatever it is, friendly president that we've ever had in office. Remember when Obama came into office, he was actually completely opposed to gay marriage. Now, that didn't change until about 2 years ago. And here we have a new president who is absolutely okay with gay marriage, absolutely okay with whatever any consenting adult wants to do in the privacy of their own bedroom. And yet here are these women marching. I mean, it's just hysterical. The left tells lies to each other. They lie to each other, and then they believe these lies so much they go out and protest these things. Where were the protests when Obama was sworn in because he was against gay marriage? It's so ironic. It's so misplaced. All this wasted energy, all this division, and yet they scream that they want unity. And you look at these marches and you look at the people themselves. No personal pride. They're disheveled. Most of them, you've just got to wonder how much self-love they have for themselves. I'm being quite serious. When you look at the photographs of the women that are participating in this march, there is a very obvious lack of self-love that these women have for themselves, just in their appearance, the way they dress. It's really sad. And this great god-awful propaganda machine that the left has is responsible for the literal brainwashing of so many people. And then we end up with these marches in the streets calling for unity, when the reality is, hey, we're all united. We're ready to unite. I mean, you're the only ones that are trying to create all of this unending division. And, if you just stopped and took a look at what's actually going on, if you actually looked at Donald Trump's policies and his position on women, yes, he said some lewd, ridiculous things. And certainly Donald Trump has an ego that's a little bit out of control at times. But he certainly is not going to be unwinding the rights of people who have slightly different gender persuasions, sexual persuasions than the majority of us. It's just absurd. So Trump was also forced to give up his phone today. Oh my gosh. Now this is, if you're looking at the way Donald Trump is tweeting all the time, and I mean, look, I'm the first to admit Trump has an ego problem. Okay, there's no doubt about that. I like a lot of his policies. I like a lot of what he's going to do, and I like the executive order that he signed last night. We'll get into that here in just a second. But there is a reality that this man's ego is through the roof. And he even embarrassed himself, really, at the CIA today. He went over and visited the CIA and gave a talk and just starts talking about himself and about the media and how the media is falsely reporting the numbers. Terrible. I mean, the ego is just out of control. Okay, well, I can put up with the ego as long as the policies are going to bring more liberty to Americans, and that's fine. But still, it's, let's not carry the water for Donald Trump. Let's admit he certainly has some flaws. Now, but he was forced to give up his phone. He was given another one, and he's still tweeting. And if you follow his tweets, you will want to follow his new Twitter account. You'll find that at POTUS, P-O-T-U-S, President of the United States, on Twitter. And the previous POTUS has all been shuffled over to at POTUS44. And Barack Obama's followers have all been moved over to that account instead. So if you were previously following POTUS and you're thinking, well, I'm already following that, been following it for months, well, you will need to actually go and refollow that account, because you will now be following Barack Obama's account. And of course, the Clinton Foundation, which is winding down, going away, is now being taken over in some part, I guess, by Obama. So the Clinton Foundation is going, but we got an announcement from Obama today that we now have the Obama Foundation. And you can find that at obama.org if you're so inclined and want to go and check that out and give him your email address. Who knows what you might find. So the executive order that was signed last night, I want to read a little bit of that. I'm going to break it down a little bit for you so you can kind of get a grasp of what it's all about. It really concerns Obamacare. And the level of transparency already, not even from the first full day of this administration, is great. because this is what Barack Obama promised the American people and never delivered on: a level of transparency. I mean, he said that this was going to be the most transparent White House administration ever. You remember that? And it actually turned out to be the least transparent of any White House administration. And actual lies from his intelligence agencies and from the White House press room itself to the American public on an ongoing basis. Well, the full text of this executive order was released, and I've got it right here in front of me. You can find it, obviously, on my Facebook page. I posted it there last night. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to read it real quick, and I won't read it all probably because it'll just be a little too legalese. And then we'll kind of summarize each part as we go through. So Section 1, well, let's start by the very top, shall we? By the authority vested in me as President, by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered as follows. Section 1. Actually, let me just stop. Some people have criticized Trump already for the executive orders. Trump criticized Barack Obama for creating legislation through the power of executive order, which is not allowed. It's not constitutional. It's not legal. And then, of course, they start criticizing Trump. Executive orders aren't the problem, though. Executive orders that create new legislation are the problem. This does not create new legislation at all. It simply sends an order to the federal agencies. And what the gist of this executive order is an order to the agencies telling them we are about to repeal Obamacare. Because of that, we're requesting your immediate assistance in preparing for that. And let me get into it now. Section 1. It is the policy of my administration to seek the prompt repeal of the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act as amended. In the meantime, pending such repeal, it is imperative for the executive branch to ensure that the law is being efficiently implemented, take all actions consistent with law to minimize the unwarranted economic and regulatory burdens of the Act, and prepare to afford the states more flexibility and control to create a more free and open healthcare market. Now, my libertarian peers were really jumping on the idea of and replace when Obama would say we need to repeal and replace Obamacare. Well, it has to be replaced with something, because this is not a free market situation. We want to go in the direction of a free market, without a doubt, but we don't have an anarcho-capitalist marketplace, so there is going to have to be some level of control. If we want to get to an anarcho-capitalist marketplace, then it's going to take some steps to get there. We can't get there overnight, that's for sure. But you can see from the wording of this executive order immediately that we're talking about moving towards free market solutions for healthcare. Section 2. To the maximum extent permitted by law, the Secretary of Health and Human Services and the heads of all other executive departments and agencies with authorities and responsibilities under the Act shall exercise all authority and discretion available to them to waive, defer, grant exemptions from, or delay the implementation of any provision or requirement of Obamacare that would impose a fiscal burden on any state, or a cost, fee, tax, penalty, or regulatory burden on individuals, families, healthcare providers, health insurers, patients, recipients of healthcare services, purchasers of health insurance, or makers of medical devices, products, or medications. Now, that's a lot. Okay, and I've seen a lot of people saying that Section 2 is a mouthful. What is Section 2 saying? It's really telling the federal agencies, back off. Don't enforce any of these burdens on anybody. Today, a friend of mine was relaying a conversation they had with somebody that was coming and collecting some mail. They used to share a house with them. They were coming collecting the mail. They opened the mail, and in here was some letter from the government saying that they owed this money that had to be paid, the penalty, the Obamacare penalty. Today, as of everybody's reading of Section 2 here, including my own, you don't have to pay that. They're not going to come after you because an executive order has been given to the agencies to stop enforcing this and to stop putting any undue burden on anybody to do with anything in this Obamacare Act. So this is pretty comprehensive, which means, I know you're probably asking, well, hey, wait, does that mean I don't have to pay the penalty? Listen, I'm not an attorney, so I'm not giving you legal advice, but it certainly seems that way. Everybody is in agreement that that is the case. And I'm sure, come Monday, there's going to be a lot of news media reporting on this and getting the information out there to everybody. Section 3, to the maximum extent permitted by law, the Secretary and the heads of all other executive departments and agencies with authorities and responsibilities under the Act shall exercise all authority and discretion available to them to provide greater flexibility to states and cooperate with them in implementing healthcare problems. Section 4, to the maximum extent permitted by law, the head of each department or agency with responsibilities relating to healthcare or health insurance shall encourage the development of a free and open market in interstate commerce for the offering of healthcare services and health insurance for the goal of achieving and preserving maximum options for patients and consumers. So the people that criticized me and said that what Trump was talking about was not a free market solution at all, please go and read Section 4 of the executive order. It's right there in black and white. The federal agencies have been given an order from the president to start free market solutions, to not hinder them, to initiate them, to get the ball rolling, because things are about to change. Section 5, to the extent that carrying out the directives in this order would require revision of regulations issued through notice and comment rulemaking, the heads of agencies shall comply with the Administrative Procedure Act and other two applicable statutes in considering or promulgating such regulatory revisions. In other words, he's outlining the guidelines that they must use if something needs to be changed. In order for them to back off, then you can do that. Follow these guidelines in order to do that. So this is very comprehensive. I would go and I would find this on my page and take a look at it yourself. I think you'll be rather impressed. This is absolutely the first step in repealing Obamacare. And you hear all of the media saying, oh, he's backtracking, you're not really going to get a repeal of Obamacare. Don't listen to the media. They don't have a clue what they're talking about. Let me take the last couple of minutes here because I want to keep this under 20 minutes. I've decided to stop playing small. I've decided to step up. In 2016, something changed where, anyone who's in the public sphere at all gets both criticism and praise from people. And 2016 was the year where I saw the criticism beginning to dwindle. And I saw more and more people asking me for content. Where's your podcast? When are you doing videos? Where can I find your stuff? What books have you written? Love that. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate you all. And if you do find value in my content, then please get it out there to people. Not so that I can become enriched, but so that others can become enriched through it. If you think this has value, then please share it with other people. But I also want to encourage you. I'm just a guy that decided, I'm going to stop playing small. I'm going to start producing this content, and I'm going to take things to a new level. Why don't you do that too? Right? It's not about competition. Let's cooperate. Let's become the media. Okay, let's become the fifth estate again. We don't need these large networks to be doing it for us. You and I can do it. I encourage you not to go out there and create a brand, not to go out there and create a website, but to simply start building your own reputation through the method of adding value to the lives of other people. Start creating content. Okay, don't go create a libertarian website, libertarian Facebook page, libertarian groups. We have enough. We are drowning in them. So go create yourself. Build a reputation. Decide what you're passionate about and pursue that. Don't look for what the market is looking for. Do what you want to do. If I wanted to create something. I mean, I've been a serial entrepreneur. I know social media. I train people in social media. I know how to do that. I know how to create a large, thriving website and get everybody there and start competing. It's not my interest. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is be me. And I want to develop a reputation for having insight into what's going on, for cutting through the crap and delivering great value to people that have got other things going on in their lives and don't have the time, and sometimes not even the inclination, to go out there and find out everything for themselves. We need trustworthy people. So you step up. Don't play small. The world and you are not served when you play small. You need to play your role here. So please do what you feel called to do. I'm going to be talking about that a lot forever because I really believe in lifting other people up. All right, we've just gone over the 20-minute mark. Thank you so very much for listening today. Remember that you can win 6 pints of this incredible edible cookie dough from Big Dipper Dough Company. Austin Grozier is this amazing Ron Paul supporter who kicked all this off just over a year ago. He's doing phenomenally well. You can find his product in Kroger, and it's about to be in another huge supermarket chain that I'm not allowed to tell you about just yet, but you'll be able to find it in the supermarkets very, very soon. It's a fantastic success story. I've just done an interview with him, and you will hear from him very soon. Thanks so much. Have a fantastic night, and I will see you tomorrow. Take care.